This is the third part of my response to Heliofant's recent posts and the film I Pet Goat 2. I believe it is connected to Trump's invasion of Greenland. And this invasion will be answered by a mega tsunami. Either La Palma or a meteor will cause this tsunami, or maybe even both. That the meteor will create a seismic shock, which will send a tsunami to America. And then China will invade Taiwan. Now, in the 1970s, there was a book called Lucifer's Hammer. It is about an object from space hitting the Earth. It's called Lucifer's Hammer. We have just had this man-made comet called Third Eye Atlas. Your third eye is your Lucifer. It gives you enlightenment. Your third eye. So you have this book, Lucifer's Hammer, made in 1977, and it is about an impact from space, from an asteroid. Now, why is this important? Because the man who wrote this book, Jerry Pournelle, was the one who created Project Thor and a weapon called kinetic bombardment, rods from God, Project Thor. So the author of that book is responsible for Project Thor, the writer of Lucifer's Hammer, Lucifer, your third eye atlas. We have this UN test which is following this object, which Avi Loeb claims is an extraterrestrial object. I believe it's man-made. Your third eye. What Avi Loeb is actually saying is that your third eye is God. Your third eye is a higher intelligence. And if you can see this in the films Encounters of the Third Kind, your third eye, and E.T. points to the boy's pineal gland and says, "I'll be right there," and he points to his third eye. And then the poster is E.T. giving life to the boy, and this is the same as Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. And in Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, God is shaped like a brain, and where his hand points out is the symbolic area of the pineal gland giving life to Adam. Now, when E.T. goes on his spaceship home, he's followed by his dog, by the boy's dog, and he holds sunflowers. The sunflowers is a symbol of spiritual enlightenment. But then the dog returns to the boy, and what it's saying is the dog is Isis, the dog star. And Isis is the synthesis of the duality. When man understands the duality, he understands further the knowledge of the pineal gland. It creates a trinity. And so the pineal gland is man's enlightenment. And the Freemasons and that religion in the Middle East, the Kabbalah, seem to believe that a higher interdimensional intelligence has been behind the ascent of man. Lucifer. Lucifer's Hammer, your third eye. The guy who wrote that book was the creator of Project Thor. Now, Arthur C. Clarke based his book, Hammer of God, on Lucifer's Hammer. But in Clarke's book, it is a fragment of a comet. And this influenced the film Deep Impact with the ELE event. So, Lucifer's Hammer influenced Hammer of God. And the god that has a hammer is Thor, who is a Norse god. Now, in the book Hammer of God, the defense system is called Project Atlas. So, they create a defense system to monitor these asteroids and fragments of a comet called Project Atlas. And in real life, we have Project Atlas. And this is how we have the detection of Comet Third Eye Atlas. Your third eye, your Lucifer. Now, so it's essentially based on the same theme. Now, we have this film called Greenland 2020, and the comet hits the Earth, a fragment of a comet, which is also based on Arthur C. Clarke's book, Hammer of God. And the comet, which is fragmented, is called Clarke, after Arthur C. Clarke. Okay, and we've just had the release of Greenland 2. And we have Trump's proposed invasion of Greenland, which seems to show up in I Pet Goat 2, and is connected to the recent posts of Heliofant. So, we have this man who turned up on the Capitol Hill protests, called Jake and Jelly. Jake and Angel and Jelly. We just had the fight, Last Judgment, between Jake and Joshua. And this is about man's journey up the ladder to heaven, which they believe is the pineal gland, man's enlightenment. And this man, Jake and Jelly, had a big Thor hammer tattoo on his body. And he sat in the Capitol, in the Congress, and said there's going to be this huge disaster. So he has the hammer of God tattooed on him. Now my channel was the first to spot him here in Back to the Future 2. So there's a character in Back to the Future 2 where you have all these riots and Trump is Biff and Biff has become president, and you have the character with the beaver skin and the horns in this clip. So he's here. Here he is, and he turns around just like Jake and Jelly did in the protests. There he is, spinning around, and then he puts his hands up in the air. There. This channel spotted it first. Now, obviously we have Greenland. A new release, where it is about a new film, and it's about the recovery after the impact, and it still has commentary impacts, and obviously it's a sequel to this film, Greenland 2020, and it has in the trailer a tsunami, and it has also volcanic eruptions. So it seems that all these events are linked. So if we look at I Pet Goat 2, we have Greenland here. I've showed you the map in my previous videos. We have Bin Laden. Bin Laden was buried at sea. Bin Laden his death was announced on May Day. The guy with the moustache, death announced on May Day. So this is clearly linking this to guy with moustache to Trump. We have the meteor on his beard. Again, this is the first channel to spot it. We have what looks like an eclipse. It could happen on March the 3rd. We have a full moon, blood moon eclipse. It could happen on March the 3rd. And he summons up the waves. Bin Laden. Okay, so we have Bin Laden's death announced on May Day. We have the guy with moustache, death announced on May Day. We have the creation of the Bavarian Illuminati on May Day, 1776. And we have the creation of America on a ship called the Mayflower, which landed on 11/11 in America. These events seem to be planned. We have the fall of the Statue of Liberty when Trump invades Greenland. So, and then we have the start of World War III. So we're near events. And we have commentators saying World War III is about to start. We have mass censorship on social media. Now this channel's been predicting this for the last 6 years. And it was ridiculed. And now everything is coming to prediction. Now, let's have a look at the calendar. Because what we will see here is we have guy with moustache doing the Trump pose. He came to power in 1933. And in 1933 there was a film called Deluge, which shows the flooding of New York. Now, and it shows them recovering after this deluge, a bit like Greenland too. Now, Trump is playing the Julius Caesar character from Shakespeare, because the creators of Shakespeare were the creators of America, the Rosicrucians. And he is the father of Operation Warp Speed. And the first man to get it was called William Shakespeare. You shake it before you spear it. And the Tsar, which means Caesar, in the UK was MP for Shakespeare from Stratford-upon-Avon, Nadim Zahawi. This is all a script. And Trump got shot in the ear, or fake shot in the ear, on the birthday of Julius Caesar. He just invaded Venezuela on the 3rd. And on that day, you had the closest approach of the Earth to the Sun, which was on the 3rd, and you had the closest approach of the Moon to the Earth. That's a 33 of Freemasonry. In March, we will have the eclipse, a 3-3 eclipse. Okay, seems to be indicated here. This is the Super Bowl. Who knows what's going to happen? But it seems like this is finally the year. And so, and it predicts Greenland, and Trump is going to invade Greenland, and this is going to be one of the main triggers of World War III. So, in the new Greenland, we have a tsunami, we have volcanic eruptions, and we have comet strikes. Now, if we look at the flag of Greenland, we will see that it has the same flag as Poland. And it was the invasion in Poland by the guy with moustache which triggered World War II. And so we can see that this is the same script, written by the same people, and that the invasion of Greenland will trigger off World War III. But it seems that this invasion of Greenland will be answered by some type of meteor or La Palma or both tsunami event, which will strike America. And then China will invade Taiwan. Something like that. That's what is in my thoughts. Thank you.